Hello everyone and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Mari and I'm gardening in Queens, New York City, and today we're going to do a full April garden tour. We're going to take a look how everything's looking in the garden by this time of the year. So let me just show you guys real quick how my backyard looks. If you're new here, we have a little space up there. I have another green stalk, and then we have this raised bed in here that I have a few things growing on already. And here are the seedlings that I mostly plan to plant in the plot because I have more space there. But let's start here looking at this beautiful green stalk first because I'm so proud. Look how pretty everything in here looks. This is a purple broccoli that I started very early in the season. This green one here is planted with cool season crops. They're mostly brassicas, and I have another one here with mostly flowers that grow a little slower. So these guys here are looking so good. I'm so proud. I love the way this purple Napa cabbage is looking. So this is actually different than the purple lady bok choy that I grew in the past. I have that one growing up there, but this one is actually a Napa cabbage. I got the seed from Johnny's Seeds, and it's growing super fast, actually very nice. Look how it looks on the underleaf. It is getting quite big. Everything is getting quite big. I'm a little bit afraid that maybe it might start shading on the things below, but we'll see. I'll probably harvest some of this broccoli soon at least. This is a sprouting broccoli, so you can see that there's a main head here and I have a bunch of little ones sprouting on the side, so I'm going to harvest all of that too. I'm waiting for these guys to get a little longer before I harvest. From my understanding, from what I read in the seed pack, these will also get a bit longer, so we'll see how it goes. The center of the florets look very tight still, even though the outer edges are looking a little open. So we'll see how it's looking in a couple of days, but I'm okay harvesting like this too if you need to. Then I'll probably cut around here, or even just here, take the little floret and let these other guys shoot up and give us some more food. So I have more broccoli in here and more in here. Most of them are actually already giving some broccoli. This one hasn't still, and this one hasn't still, but the leaves on this one are really big, so I'm very excited to see how big this one's going to turn out to be. And I have a cauliflower here. This is a cheddar cauliflower, yellow cauliflower, and there's another cauliflower here, but she's not doing good. So these guys were both planted on the same day, cared for the same way, but they're not looking good as seedlings. I'm kind of impressed that this guy here did well, but we'll let this one grow here and I'll see what I'll do with this, because definitely now they're going to start getting shaded by the other guys. So it's kind of sad to see the only one there that actually didn't grow. And then I have some kale here that is ready to be harvested. How excited. I should have harvested already, but I wanted to film this garden tour and show you guys. I will harvest all of these bottom leaves in here and probably just leave a couple over here. I have more kale. Let me turn this. This is a nice spinner, so I can turn it easily. I have more kale here on this side. These guys are not as big as that one below there. That was the biggest seedling in the front, but they're looking pretty good. I can harvest that too, so it'll be a good kale harvest getting from all of these plants. I finally planted the back of this green stalk that I left it open, if you guys remember from the video I was planting this. So I put some more kale here, had some curly kale. I prefer to eat the dino, that one's my favorite, but I started some seeds for this, so I decided to put some of that in there too. I have some green broccoli in here. It's a different variety. Grew this last year and it was very nice. This was a true sprouting broccoli. It did get nice and long. So these are a little behind because I planted them a few weeks after, maybe a couple weeks after, I don't remember. And then I got a strawberry. I got another strawberry. So this is strawberry here. I got in the farmer's market. Couldn't resist because it was $3. This is what says on the tag. It doesn't really say the name of the variety, but I wanted to try it out. I have tons of strawberries in my garden, which you guys will see. They're mostly self-seeded from one plant that I had. But let me turn this back on so we can see the pretty side. But I want to see if that one's going to get bigger. The one I have are small fruit. So I also have some bull's blood beets. So it was hard for me to say that. But I'm growing this mostly for the foliage too. Beets do great on the green stalk. Let me see. I think it's already forming here. I've grown some nice sized ones before, but I really am growing this for the leaves. I like eating them. I like pickling the stems. It gets a very nice color. And if we get a big bit at the end, even better. But this is kind of like another green for me to keep harvesting, adding to my salads or sauteing and cooking. And then this is a viola that I planted in here. Probably similar to that. I started all of these guys at the same time. There was 2 varieties in there. I think this was the brush strokes, the darker ones. But when I planted this in here, it didn't have a flower. And I'm so happy that this one turned out darker because it looks so much nicer with the other ones than if it was a little bit pale beige like those guys there. I have another beet, I think, in here that's not doing very great. It's kind of getting shaded by this broccoli. Watch, look at that. So I sold some radish seeds here just a couple days ago, so can't see it yet. And I planted a nasturtium in here also, just for some variety. Forgot to say that when I turned the planter. All right, that's it for this green stalk, this beauty over here. Then we're going to move on to this one. This is the basket weave, the 7-tier green stalk. Oh, look at this. And I planted this before that, and it's looking a little behind, but as I said, they take a little longer to grow. The flowers and also the beets in there, the herbs, but it's looking pretty good. I am happy with the way it's turning out. Something very cool is happening here. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see. I found some ladybug eggs in there a few days ago, and they all hatched. You see that? Just the little eggshells empty and a bunch of little guys kind of coming out of it. That's super cool. I will try to put a picture on the screen on how the eggs look like before. They're little orange eggs. Hopefully my pest control on this green stalk is going to be taken care of with all these ladybugs going there, because we do have some aphids. I've noticed some aphids here on these pansies, but instead of spraying them with the holes, which I do sometimes, I left them in there because I want these little guys to have food and stay here. That's super exciting. I always like to see beneficial insects coming here to the garden freely. So let me turn this. Here's the spinach that I direct sold. It has popped up. One here is not doing good, but this other one is. And the soil level is getting low here. Once they get bigger, I might add a little bit more in there. I prefer when the soil level is like this, a little higher. And my cilantro is looking great. Can also harvest. Look at this. For some from dinner tonight. It's amazing. This was actually turned to the back. I didn't even notice how much it grew, which is nice. And what else is in here? These pansies that are in the back haven't flowered yet. I do have to admit that I'm not so good at rotating these guys, even though I have the spinner. I'm trying more this year, but I still forget. Sometimes I go 2, 3, 4 days without rotating them, so one side gets bigger. But this one is looking pretty good. This is some arugula that I could also harvest to eat with my kale. Look at that. So nice. There's some more baby kale in there. And I love the color of these pansies in here, these violas. So pretty. Ah, this one's my favorite. Look at that. Ah, it's so nice. This one is beautiful too. They all turned out to be very pretty. I think this is from the antique mix. I'll put a name on the screen of the correct name that I got it from Joni's, and it's very beautiful. Worth it. I want to plant some more next year for sure. Some of them get some more yellow like this, but I like it that too. And this guy here, you can see that's kind of spent. I'm gonna take it out so I can encourage these guys to keep going and keep producing flowers for me as long as it can. So I like that had those. And here I have a phlox. I think it's caramel. I'll have to put the name on the screen now. I don't remember, but I grew this last year for my wedding and I loved it. So pretty. I have more pansies down here. Couple times. This is lemon thyme and it's variegated. It smells amazing. So good. Oh, it smells really good. And I can already start harvesting from this and using for cooking too, which I love. Thyme is the herb that I use the most for cooking. I like to put in most of my stews and soups and anything that's brothy. And also roasting vegetables and roasting meat. So very good. I love thyme. And then I have some rosemary in here and more pansies. So pretty filled up this green stalk. More pansies in there. I like the pansies not only for beauty, but I also use them for garnishing food, putting salads. They're edible and it makes things look very pretty. You can use them for baking, for cookies. So I love them. And here I have the planter that I added my radishes and peas. So something interesting happened here actually. You see there's one pea kind of going to that little trellis here. And I was like, oh no, the other peas all rotted. But here's what happened. The other ones are coming in the back here. They just germinated a lot later than this guy. So I guess it got cold again after I planted and only one kind of went up. I did soak the seeds. That's why I was worried that they might have rotted, but they're coming up. They came out much later than that, so they will catch up soon. We're having a very warm week, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna grow kind of fast. The radishes in here are looking great. I have tinned out some already, taken some out. You can see that some of them are ready to eat. This guy, I almost harvested yesterday also, this and this one, but I decided to leave here to show you guys some cool stuff in the garden tour. But radishes don't really like it hot. It's not too hot yet, I guess. I'm okay with leaving bigger, but sometimes when I leave them for too long, the center kind of splits. I got a hole in the center, so I like to harvest kind of this stage for the French breakfast. And this one could get a little bigger, but overall they're doing great. And then you can sow a bunch and keep taking out and they will that way you're kind of thinning it and eating it not all at once, so which is good. I'm gonna go up here before I go to the pots because I want to show the other green stalks too. And these beautiful chives. We're having construction on the house next to us, so it's been a little hard for me to film outside, but the chives are about to bloom. I love the chive blooms. A lot of the bees love them too. I have some pots in there with things that from last year. This is some larkspur that's self-seeded in there. And then this is the strawberry. This is one of the strawberries that I planted in here. It was self-seeded in one of my pots down there, transplanted, and put it up here. I don't know if it's going to be true to type, so we'll see this year what that strawberry is going to turn out to be. And then I put it in a nasturtium here too. I have some lemon balm that volunteer in this pot, and I'm just letting it grow. I have some thyme in here. This is a new one I never grew before. It's called pizza thyme. I saw at the farmer's market. It smells like thyme. We'd say there thyme, basil, and oregano, but funny enough, it kind of does smell like all of that. It's very different smell than that thyme over there and the thyme, the regular English thyme that I usually grow. So I wish you guys could smell this, but it's pretty cool. I hope that does well. And I have some lavender in here that I planted. It's about to bloom. Very nice. I planted lavender in here, and I guess I forgot to show you guys some citronella in here. There's more thyme just because of the bugs and mosquitoes. I love sitting in this little chair here. It'll look a little dirty now, in the summer, and sometimes there's so many mosquitoes, so I put some citronella in here. There's lavender in here. I might put some other strong scented herbs on that side and maybe another one in here just to kind of protect me, so I'm more comfortable there when I enjoy my coffee, because I love doing that in the summer and watching the garden. And before I go to that beautiful green stalk over there, let's just look at this little planter that I put in a lot of my leftover lettuces. They were just planted maybe a week ago, not growing much yet. Oh, I have some radishes kind of coming up here. I did sow some extra radish seeds just a couple days ago because I thought, why not have the space, and we'll see if that can get some more radishes before it gets really hot. It was looking good. It's a small planter, and no, it's not gonna get super big, but I like to harvest my lettuce for baby greens anyway, so I'll be happy to have them there. The slugs haven't found them yet, which is good. And here is the green stalk, looking great. I already did a couple harvests of this on video. Last week I harvested a few things for dinner and didn't have a chance to film, but it's looking pretty good. Even though it's not so full because I've been harvesting more often, it's still giving us lots of food, which is good, especially these herbs. This parsley, I harvest so much. You can see there's lots of places that I've keep breaking them from, and just keep putting some more leaves and looking gorgeous. So no damage from bugs yet because it's early in the season. It's amazing. So I'm also going to harvest some of that tonight probably. The oregano, this is as a tar actually. Just looked that up, the seeds that I put in here last year. I seeded this in here last summer, but they only came up in the fall, and then they overwintered in here and are starting to grow now. They smell wonderful too. I also think I have to harvest like here and here to kind of bush it out a little bit. It's looking a little tall and leggy. Before I move one more time, I'll show the ranunculus in here. This is too small for ranunculus. Don't recommend to put 2 in a pocket, but I actually threw 2 tiny little corms in here that I thought was not going to be viable, and they did. And I'm just curious to see how big they will get planted this close together. Then I have this mizuna here going to seed already, not like in the going to flower, sorry, not like in the heat very much, but it's fine. I'm letting it go to flower because I saw a bunch of mizuna flowers in the farmer's market, so I'm gonna let it go to flower and taste them and eat them like that. I gotta harvest some more of these. I just harvested and it's getting super overcrowded, so I gotta harvest some more. If you can, there's some stuff in there. I keep taking from the outside, and probably tonight too. It's gonna be a good dinner tonight. And have some lettuces in here, letting this grow a little bit bigger. I took some leaves out of it and it's getting a little brown. When it's like this brown, I still eat it. I'll still take it out and harvest, and I'll just break this before I take it off like this before I put in the salad, not a big deal. I still eat even though it gets those little brown marks. And I have these pansies in here, which are I'm obsessed with them. They're so beautiful. Look at this. These guys are so tall. Look at this is in this pocket, and look how tall they're getting. So if I wanted to even use for cutting for a bouquet, you know, to make it a little nice flower arrangement for the house, I could. But I'm leaving them here because I've seen some insects, some bees go into them. And they mostly volunteered from last year. One of them is the original plant, which I don't know which one. I had one plant here, and maybe two, I don't remember now. And they, you know, self-seeded, and now I have a bunch of different ones in different pockets. So there's one here, there's one here, there's one there, up here. I have another one up here. I don't know how she got up here. But I love that. I love when the garden just, you know, comes back on its own. It's my favorite. I love when self-seeds. This back here is not looking so good because I decided to let these chives grow. And they're just, you know, I noticed they're popping up. This is something, I don't know, it's a kale, maybe it's a volunteer or something. So I'm not really managing much, but these chives look tiny now, but within a year, they're going to look huge like that. So just gonna let them take over because, you know, I love chives, can never have enough. I can put them on everything too when I'm cooking. And then more sujimi sai here and more sujimi sai here. It's the same one that I showed on the top that had some little holes. This is kind of like spinach, it's an Asian green, and I love eating, can eat it raw or cooked, and it's great on both applications. I like to harvest them at this stage, like smaller. I don't want to get too much bigger than that. I just want to show you the lettuces that I decided to plant. So I took some bok choy out. We planted some together in my video, but I decided to put a lettuce in here and another lettuce in there for the empty spaces that I had. And I harvested some more mizuna. You can see in here there's only one leaf left. What else? There's a parsley volunteering in here that I'm gonna let it go. And some of the bok choy we replanted is not growing so fast. So this is the purple lady bok choy I was talking about. It's a little slower. I planted later and it's a little hot. So I don't know why it's not growing as fast, but we'll see what's gonna happen. This is one of my favorites. I think it's called Tokyo Benkana, and it came in a mix from Hudson Valley Seed Company. It's my favorite salad mix. It's called Salad Savor. It's the same one that Mizuna came from, and some of the green bok choy that I had and already all harvested. Oh no, I have one more. Let me show you. This one here. Remember that I harvested a bok choy in my first harvesting video. I harvested and left a little bit in there instead of taking all the way down, and I have a little bunch of bok choy side shoots that's not gonna become super big, but I like to take these leaves and use for stir fries and stuff like that, even putting in soups like ramen. It's cool to see that you're gonna get all these little side shoots from one bok choy if you don't want to keep replanting. Here I have the mustard, and let's move on from this green stock because I've been talking about them for too long. Here in this planter here I have this beautiful oregano. This is Italian oregano that overwintered and it's coming back great. A mishmash of stuff here that volunteered from last year. I don't even know what it is. I think this is a radish. I don't know how the seeds got here, if I seeded last year and they never came up and they're coming up now. I think this is a daikon. And this is kind of a small pot for daikon, but I'm gonna let it go and see what happens. What else? Here I have some ranunculus, the same story that I thought it was not going to come up, and they did. And there's some kale even in here. I don't know. I think when I was seeding stuff in the green stock last year too, maybe some kale seeds fell. But they're all growing kind of too crowded. We'll see what's gonna happen there. And then I have my peas in here. Some of them are nice. This is the same one I'm gonna show you guys in the plot. I want you guys to see the difference between this one here that I'm, you know, kind of watching, and there's no birds and stuff in here, and the ones there. And theirs are much healthier. Same variety started together, but these guys are doing a lot better. I have some late bloomers here too that I actually put it like direct seeded, and they will hopefully catch up too. And I have a larkspur here too that's self-seeded from last year. All right, now let's go back downstairs and take a look at my other pots and my raised bed. So most of this stuff over here are also volunteered from last year or came back from last year. This is larkspurs and nice purple flowers, the same that I talked about up there. And it's about to bloom, so it has a little bud. But as soon as these guys bloom, I'm gonna cut it and I'm gonna use this pot for something else. This bachelor button also volunteered from last year. I had some growing here and they went to seed and fell in that pot and in the edge over there, and it grew. So it's great actually. I'm happy that I can have these flowers this early. They actually volunteered in the fall. They overwintered as a baby plant, and now they're blooming super early in the spring. So it's nice, and the bees love them. The pollinators love coming to the bachelor button. Here I have some rudbeckia that are coming back. I didn't think they were going to come back. I was going to use this pot for vegetables, maybe tomatoes. We'll see what's going to happen because they're very beautiful. It's from the Sahara rudbeckia series, and I will love to have them back here again. I have a couple empty pots here that are going to be for some of my seedlings. You guys will see in a minute. This is a rose that a friend gifted to me, and then here I have some other stuff that came back from last year. This is a strawberry. Look how huge this guy is. That's self-seeded. That's stuff that grew from seed from the plant that I had. I think it's actually multiple strawberries here. And we'll see what kind of strawberries they're going to give us, probably little ones. And then another larkspur, I have another bachelor button. These pots are all supposed to be tomatoes, so I will see what's going to happen. I feel bad to cut all of that stuff. Here I have some seedlings that I have been taking from that raised bed that they've been popping up, and trying to just put them in here to maybe give them away or plant at the plot. I don't know. But that's what's the story about this stuff over here. And in the raised bed, look at that, it's looking really good. I have a lot of stuff that came back from last year too, but let's start here with the spot. This is also a volunteer bachelor button, so I didn't plant any bachelor button this year. These guys are all from a few plants that I had last year. They all kind of seeded in different spots, but that's great. I'm not complaining. This is the raspberry plant that's looking a little bit big. I have no idea if it's going to give me raspberries or not this year. We'll see. I have my little composting situation here that a lot of people ask me about. I don't talk about it a lot. Sorry, because it's so warm going. You see, I kind of been doing this since I started gardening for a few years. And I just put my browns and my greens in there. So dried stuff counts as the browns, the carbon, and then food scraps and stuff as greens. And I kind of leave it in there, and there's holes all around my pot, including underneath. So I dug it. It's kind of inside about this much, so the worms can go in and out. I didn't put any worms in here. I just started putting some food scraps and some, shredded paper and stuff and leaves, and then they came from the raised bed. Now there's lots of them. Every time that I mix it, I use this little guy here as like a narrator to mix it up. Sometimes when I remember, not all the time, and a lot of them come up. So this looks like needs a bit more browns, look a little wet for me, so I need to put some more shredded paper. There's a fungus gnat in there, but that's how it is with compost. And then there's a worm, so working good. I don't really use this compost because once it gets warm, the worms really work hard and the level keeps going down pretty fast. But I'm not complaining because I feel like this raised bed is all very healthy because of that little setup in there. The worms just freely come and go. And here in this little pot I have a collard green that I got at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. I went to an event there. They gave me a seedling and it's growing big. These brassicas are still so pretty because it's cold and the cabbage moths are not here yet. All right, now finally to the raised bed. We have some sweet peas in there. They are overwintered. I planted them in the fall. They overwintered by themselves without any protection or anything. There was snow on, all of that, and now they're growing, looking beautiful. Those are not the edible kind. This is the cut flower one that's toxic. Actually, shouldn't eat it, but it's so pretty and smells so good, so I wanted to grow some. I have some snapdragons in here, looking so healthy. So look at that, so many side shoots, looking great. I planted them very early. Some of them, these bigger ones, those guys were overwintered. They're not looking as good as these guys, but we'll see what happens. There's some, lilies coming up from here. And this raised bed here is all mostly flowers. I used to grow veggies in here, but I have some cats, some alley cats, and they keep using my raised bed as a litter box. So you can see where it's not planted. I have some metal grids to try to prevent them from digging. But I was just told that's not good to grow vegetables in there because the soil could be contaminated. I don't know how much, they have been peeing there. So decided to only grow flowers in here this year to be safe, which is good because I love also having flowers in the garden. It's important for the vegetables, attract the pollinators, you add some beauty. And I love cutting them to have fresh flowers in the home. That always cheered me up when I see them on my table. So I have a plan to make this mostly with dahlias this year. But what happened is a lot of things came back. So I have already planted some. This is a dahlia, that's a dahlia, this is a dahlia here, but I'll plant the other ones later. But I also was planning to plant them here, and I got these things that came back from last year. So this snapdragon overwintered. Look at this guy, it's flowering, so beautiful and so tall. Look at this. It overwintered without any protection or anything. I had no idea if it was going to survive. I didn't expect it was going to survive. It got snowed on and just powered through, and now it's got really tall. It's full of side branches and it's flowering. So I feel bad taking it out, but I'll see. I'll decide. I was planning to put a big dahlia in here. We'll see. I wanted to cut them and then put the dahlia, but now it's looking so pretty. I love the way it looks in the garden too, so I have to make some decisions. And here I have the feverfew that came back from last year. Not a snapdragon that survived the winter. That one was a tiny little thing and it's just getting big again. Volunteer bachelor button, bunch of volunteer larkspur. So my raised bed's not looking ready for planting yet, but I'll see what I will do. In this front edge here, I purposely planted some perennials, some things that I want a little bit lower, but I have 2 echinacea in here. There's some Icelandic poppies that I sold here in February after reading one of you guys' comments when I saw that mine didn't do well. But they're so behind. It's already April and they're this little. I'm not sure if they'll be able to handle the heat. We'll see. I have some ranunculus in here that I had left over from the plot. I decided to put some here. This is a perennial scabiosa. The peonies also only have buds, but April is kind of like teasing, you know, they're almost there. But then in May, all of this, or lots of these are going to be flowering. It's going to be beautiful. The ranunculus will flower, the scabiosa will flower, the peonies, hopefully the feverfew and the larkspur. It's going to be completely different in just a month and even 2 in June here. And here are lots of larkspur that volunteered. I'm letting them go for now, but I'll cut them and take them out once they flower for me. I have some Lysianthus coming back from last year, and I'll use that space back there for dahlias. This snapdragon also came back from last year. This feverfew, huge, came back from last year. This guy also overwintered. Sorry, this didn't come back from last year, just overwintered, this guy. So did this, the snapdragon. I did plant some coreopsis in here next to the larkspur because I needed space for them. I want to have some in my backyard. And just notice here, there's a couple sunflower seedlings popping up there. I'll let them grow also. But most of these other seedlings in here, if I want to use them, I'm putting in the little container I showed you guys. If not, I'm just gonna pluck them out. I don't want all of those, see those guys here, they are morning glories. I don't want them all growing here. But that's it. This is how the raised bed looks now. Doesn't look like much, but my vision for this year is to have them mostly with dahlias. So the peonies too, once they flower, I'm gonna cut them low so there's more spaces for the dahlias to grow. Hopefully that snapdragon I'm gonna cut the feverfew as they bloom, so also that's gonna be kind of out of the way. And we'll see if the dahlias will thrive this year because I love to have a beautiful background in there. Now let's look at the seedlings before we go to the plot. The plot's looking pretty empty, so it's good to kind of have a visual of what's going to go in there before we walk over and see how things are looking. So some of these bigger things here for the plot. I also have some things here that are going to go in the green stock. So let's just go over everything. Here I have some Togarashi peppers. This was not in my original plan, but I got this in a seedling swap and they're looking so healthy. This is to make the Japanese Togarashi spices dried. I can't wait to see how they look and how they taste too. It's supposed to be a more mild pepper, not as hot. Here I have some jalapenos. They're looking healthy. Those are all gonna go on the plot. I love having jalapenos through the year, and I also love pickling them and candying them. And I have some dill in here that I want to scatter here and there for pest control. Same with these marigolds. I want to put them around just to attract beneficial insects. I have some tomatoes here. They're not looking so good. Those are some of my cherry tomatoes. I have to take them out. I'm actually going to take this out of here and put it in here so I remember to do when I finish filming this garden tour. Look at this, kind of sad. To uppot them, I think they're hungry and I keep forgetting to give them some more space. So here's a lemon verbena, very fragrant herb that's actually native from South America, from Brazil. I love that smell so much, my favorite smell. I use it for teas, but you can also use it for cooking. More dill in here. This side I have some nice looking cherry tomatoes, but they are potted. This is the sweet aperitif cherry tomatoes. Some of them are going to live here in the backyard. And I have some other peppers in here. Which peppers is this? This is the pimento pepper. That's also going to the plot. I have some eggplants in here. Most of the eggplants are going to the plot. I have some couple dwarf varieties, like a patio, not dwarf, but smaller varieties, a patio baby and a fairy tale that I'm going to put in some of those pots over there to have some food back here close to me too. And these are all of my tomatoes. Look at that, so well behaved this year. I only have one tray of big tomatoes. In the past I had always 4, so many. So controlled myself this year and try to not grow as much, just giving 2 beds so I don't get overwhelmed with them. So if you're curious to see the varieties, I will link a video where I started them. Each one of these is a different variety, so they'll get a little long. And I have the smaller peppers here for the green stalks. I have another green stalk like this that I'm planning to put it up, and that's going to be with warm season, mostly with peppers. I put some herbs in there too, basil, maybe some dill, some other things just to balance it out. But I'm going to move that green stalk, the flower one, here in the shade. I'll take that out, that whole shelf, because the pens is like a little cooler, so they'll be too hot for them in the summer. So they'll be here next to this beautiful one. So there's 2 cool season ones in here, and then I'll put another green one like that with all peppers. And this, when I harvest all these brassicas, I'm planning to do beans and basil and some more warm weather stuff. So we'll see how that's going to progress through the season. And I have some of the seedlings here. I have some purple basil. These are all peppers, all different peppers. And I have some dwarf zinnias actually I decided to grow to attract some butterflies too. There's some other herbs that I like. There's some shiso. I love this. If you've been in Japanese restaurants, you might be familiar with this. And then jambu is a Brazilian herb from the Amazon that I really wanted to grow here. I think it's called toothache plant here in the US, but I went to the Amazon last year to Manaus, and we had a lot of dishes with this last year, so I wanted to grow here too, to make some of them and have it. I have some nasturtiums in here. Then this is a bigger marigold. I have some mini ones, some dwarf ones over there planting with the vegetables. I have some bigger ones too to put here and there in the garden. And yeah, bunch more peppers. Here are dahlia cuttings. Most of these are going to live on that raised bed there when I finally clean it up, but they're looking kind of small, so I have some time. I have some bigger ones. This is a cutting that I took that's looking very good from a labyrinth dahlia. Those 2 I took too. Those other ones are from Noriko. And the last thing here before we go to the plot is I will show you my dahlia seedlings. So those are started from seed, and those are going to go in the front yard. And then I have this gorgeous Kilgai and dahlia that I'm going to put a picture on the screen because she's so beautiful. It's a water lily shape, and it was a little leggy when I got it from my friend in Brooklyn. So I topped it off. I decided to already top it off, and it's sending this beautiful side growth. So I'm very happy to see that. And this is a big dahlia, so that's the one I was planning to put where the snapdragon is. So we'll see what I'm gonna decide to do in a couple weeks from now. Alright, now let's take a walk and go to the plot. I actually want to show you guys a few things on my street on the way to the plot too, because there's things here that I don't have space to grow, but I think they're looking so nice this time of the year. First, we can look at the trees. I love seeing them with these little young buds, light green buds. They're so pretty. And this beautiful flower that I don't know what it is, but every time I walk by I'm like, oh, this is so pretty. If anybody knows what it is and want to help me identify it, I'll be very grateful. There are lots of houses with hydrangeas too. You see they're coming back. I love to have a hydrangea, but I just don't have the space, so they're a little bit expensive to buy, and gotta have sort of a commitment. Another rose in here. Look at these hydrangeas in here. They're starting to send these little buds. I just love watching all this new growth in the spring. You know, it makes my heart so happy to see these things kind of coming back to life. Hopefully later in the season I'll remember to walk by over again here and show you guys how the things look in bloom. I love this tree too. I don't know also what's called, but I love walking over here. And my favorite is that lilac tree all the way back there. They also have a beautiful garden here that they tend and plant a lot of new things and annuals, but look how gorgeous these lilac trees. I love walking over here and just smelling the blooms. You know, it's only blooms for a few weeks, and obviously it's not my tree and I don't harvest anything, but I just like walking by and enjoying its beauty. It's so fragrant, so nice. One day if I have a home, I'd love to have a lilac tree also. Look how gorgeous this looks. Okay, so here we are. I have been doing some work in the plot here this week, so you guys are more familiar how it's looking, but I do have a few things that look different, so I want to show that to you guys. But first, real quick, let's just look how this back area here is looking. So the grapevine has been pruned quite aggressively, which is good because it kind of grows really intensely and takes over everywhere. I have some roses here that they're red roses. I usually don't do much about it, but this year I'll probably maybe harvest some and take home because they're looking nice and big this year, looking nice. Here were some daffodils that are already done. I have some violets blooming here. The bees love them. Hopefully you guys can see over there. And lots of these daylilies, they're just coming back from where we tried to take out as much as we could, but they just like clearly left some stuff over because they're growing. And here it's interesting, we actually just put a bunch of the bulbs in here with the leaves and stuff and let it be because we're gonna take this out, and we never got a chance to, and here we are. They just started growing back again with no soil. This is how aggressive those things grow, and I'm not watering, doing anything, and I'm waiting to see if they will flower because it's kind of incredible to see these guys just, you know, growing out of nothing in there. Here I have added lots of more mulch and wood chips and stuff that I had in my backyard to try to suppress the weeds in here. Fig tree was pruned and it's starting to send some new leaves. That kind of looks nice. It's not so different from last week when I showed these guys lately, but I think there's some growth. Some things are actually already getting a little bigger. I have this yarrow here that to me looks bigger every time that I walk in here. And the ranunculus, you know, it's not growing as fast as I wish it was, to be honest, but I'm also not watering them here yet. The water is not on in the plot. I gotta talk to my neighbor and ask him to turn it on for me. And everything that's growing here is just growing through rain only. So a little bit more challenging. They're growing a little slow, and I might have to come here with a watering can, carry water from my backyard and water them here. But check this out. There's one ranunculus that's about to bloom, but it's not looking super healthy because there's barely any leaves. This is the one that overwintered. So this is a corm that I forgot in the ground. I noticed it sprouted and just stayed here out in the cold and everything. And it's sending out these blooms, but doesn't have a lot of leaves. I think the leaves kind of burned out, so I don't know. Interesting to see. The other guys have tons of leaves, but I don't see any buds yet. So I guess I gotta be patient with those. Here on this side, these guys have grown a lot. I think every time else I walk in here, I think they put out some new growth. Those feverfews and that bronze fennel there, they have came back from last year. Those guys are probably 3 years old already. And I have some of the stuff I planted together with the ranunculus. There's some scabiosa. They're starting to grow now. They stayed in that size for a very long time, but there's some lighter green leaves. I don't know if you can tell. So that's new growth. And tons of feverfew babies I can see here. I could take them out and give to some people too. And here I was a bit worried about my stock, but look at that, it's flowering. I am happy about it. It's not as big and robust as last year, but it looks like it's still gonna give us nice, beautiful flowers. So that one's gonna be a double, and it's looking good. I thought it was looking kind of skimpy, but after it kind of started flowering, it's looking pretty good. Oh, the sun's coming out, that's nice. And these guys here are going to be singles, which is great for the bees, so I'm gonna leave them here for the pollinators. But the sun just came out and it's looking pretty, so let's take a look real quick with the sun. I love when this light comes over here and hits the plot. So back there I have some volunteer sweet peas that are coming back from last year. The main difference here now, you can see that most of my beds are amended. So I have compost in the beds and I decided to put some wood chips in between. This was in my backyard too. So it's easy for me to walk and I don't disturb too much the beds. And also once that decomposes will feed the soil too. Here I have the borage. Now these guys are a lot bigger than last week's video. They put a lot of growth, lots more flowers in 1 week, and the bees are loving it. It's a little early now, but I have seen them coming here and enjoy the borage flowers a little later in the day. I have the arugula that grew a lot there too, but mostly the main difference is now most of my beds now have compost and are ready to be planted soon. So this is my pollinator wildflower bed situation. I have a lot of native plants in here. I have some echinacea, some coreopsis, some rudbeckia, this bee balm, to hope that it's going to attract lots of good beneficial insects for us this year too. The compost, I put in some of the soil that was in my backyard here also, so I covered some of those sticks and twigs in there. We'll see how it's going. I'm planning to do a three-sister garden on this mound over here. Over there I have, what is this? some weeds and some veg. I'm letting the veg grow in there to hopefully attach to that trellis there. And I had to kind of skimp a bit on the compost. I stretched it out. It's not as covered as much as I wanted. I didn't have enough, but if I can get more compost, I'll add some more. Here's a closer look in the borage. She's so big, and also you can eat these flowers. I harvested a bunch already for some dinners that I made, and it's still producing more. The more you harvest, the more it produces, so that's a good thing. And I decided to put some mulch here in this bed, some wood chips there. I decided to put in here just because this bed here was so hydrophobic. You know, I noticed that when it was raining, that water would just puddle and like come out. So even if it sort of stunts the growth of this rudbeckia here, I'm okay, I don't mind. This bed is all with the Sahara rudbeckia, and I left a space back there that I might plant something, but I don't know yet. Here I have the Dara, is a chocolate lace flower that also is from last year, that came back there or just overwintered, I don't even know. Some of the peas here that I said, the same that I had in my backyard, you see, they're completely demolished. They get defoliated, eaten up. I don't think they're gonna work. I might just sow a round of beans in here and hope for the best and see if they'll grow a little bit better, but they're not looking very great. Have some more rudbeckia here. This is an Indian summer rudbeckia. I wanted to put some here just to kind of frame the arches, have a little pop of color in there. It's going to be yellow. And those are my zinnias that I just planted in the last video, and check this out, they're missing. I only have 6 now. I had 8 and 2 of them are gone. There was one here, there was one here. They're gone, completely gone. This one here looked like it was eaten by something. There's a little tiny growth on the side. This one here is completely gone, no sign. Maybe someone uprooted, I don't know. But a little sad, I only have 6 zinnias here. These are the beautiful Alpenglow zinnias from Floret. And we have the asparagus growing here, looking nice. This is a 3-year-old crown. So last year was very skinny. This year is a little bit nicer size, but that's mostly it for today. I'm just going to quickly tell you guys where things are gonna go here, those seedlings that you saw. So this bed here is going to be peppers. Those 2 there is going to be the tomatoes. The 3rd one there is going to be some eggplant. I want to put on that one direct sow some okra, or maybe some other things. And up there is going to be a 3-sister garden, so it's going to have corn, squash, and beans. And this here could possibly be dahlias, depending how much I have left over. If not, I want to put summer squash and some cucumbers and some of that also. And I have one more open space here that I can plant stuff, which never happened to me before. I always had too many things. Now I feel good that actually I have a little option to plant something else if I can, since I started the right amount of seedlings this time for what I need. But that will be it for today. It's really bare now, but in a couple months this place is going to look completely transformed. So if you want to see how everything was looking just a month ago, I'm going to add the March garden tour right here, so you can watch that next. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next time.